So we're just cutting some plies for Connor's new front bumper. He requested a brand new one, so we're doing our best to give him a nice one. Step one is just cut the plies and make sure some of the material itself is ready to go into the bumper. We like using the ply cutter just because it gives us super neat and tidy edges and it cuts everything really fast. So it'll give us a nice, good looking part at the end of the day. So we just finished cutting up the very last of the plies. Everything here you see will go into the bumper and make up the structure later on. So today we cut the carbon Kevlar plies. Yesterday we did these on the machine. So now we pretty much got everything. We just got to lay it in the mold and put the resin to it, and that'll be the part.
One day later.
So the next day, we're just kind of filling you in with the progress you missed. So we left you off here with this last structural ply, and what I added yesterday was the release ply and the infusion mesh. So that'll allow all of this stuff to come off of the ply, which is what we want in the end. And then this allows the resin to flow through it. So we're going to be inputting the resin in through these, what we call flow runner. It'll infuse out to all of these vacuum ports up here. And what that'll do is that'll wet out all the fibers and basically make the composite as we know it. So all the liquid resin will get in there, cure overnight and over the weekend, and then we'll come back and pop it out of the mold, and that'll be the part. Basically, we just want to make sure all the material is in the right area. So there's a lot of different geometries and like deep features on the part. So because the bag's a 2D shape, we want to make sure we give the bag enough material basically to fit the 3D shape of the mold itself. Having the bag evenly distributed around the part is really important for just vacuum distribution and making sure everything stays down really well, and just making my job easier as well.
We've gone through quite a few bumpers this year, and Seth is making me a new one. So we go to Olympus and then right to Oregon, and the car doesn't come back to the shop. So we're trying to get as many bumpers as we can ready before we leave. So boys are working hard getting this thing ready. It looks like they just put it into the vacuum and looking good.
Basically, I'm just making sure all the plies are into every single nook and cranny of the mold, basically. So, you know, I spent a lot of time making sure they're in there, but it always just pays to check up and double check your work and make sure the bag also is really pressing up against the plies everywhere. The more consistently the bag contacts every bit of the plies, the better the part will come out in the end. So right now we're just checking the vacuum levels. So basically, if you see that needle moving, that means air is getting into the part, which means there's a leak, which can be really bad for the structure of the part, and the part will look really bad that way too. So I'm gonna go around and try to find all these leaks and make it perfect so we get a perfect part. Just kind of preparing all the resin in all the correct quantities. So we just finished up the infusion step of the whole process. So now the resin has saturated all the plies, and what we're gonna do is just let it sit over the weekend, cure up till it's hard, and then we'll throw it in the oven first thing Monday just to get it ready to demold and then strong enough to really pull it out of the mold, basically.
3 days later.
So we just got this hot out of the oven. Now it's time to pull the bag material and all the other supporting materials off of there and get this part out of the mold. we just pulled all the backup material and the vacuum bag itself off the part. So now, as you can see, all we have left is the carbon Kevlar and the carbon fiber of the part itself. So next steps will be remove these flanges so we can pull the part out of the mold, and then slowly we'll add wedges just to put a bit of tension on the part so it wants to come out. And after that, it'll be off to the booth to trim it up and drill it and get it ready to fit on the car. Check it out. Is it good? You tell me. Wow. Yeah. So we just got the bumper out of the mold, so the next step is trim it up and then drill all the holes so it fits on the car. So stuff like this blank out plate, that blank out plate, and this one in here are all gonna go along with all these edges. So we'll trim it up, make it nice and tidy, and then make sure it fits on the car really well, because the accuracy of all these holes is very important to make sure the technicians have an easy job after we pass this off to them. So yep, after this, off to the booth and make it a real part. So we're fresh out of the booth, everything's trimmed up how we want it. We drilled the holes. Now that's all that's left is to basically countersink the holes so we can rivet the anchor nuts in place and then call it a day, clean her up, make her look all pretty, and pass it off to parts.